Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the CNT podcast. My name is Tommy Terrio. I am here with.
Eli Burns. That's right. I'm back.
It's great to have you back. As always, we are grateful to you for coming on. Um, and
Always happy to be here.
ladies and gentlemen, normally we're we're mostly an MLB centric podcast, but every now and again we like to delve beyond that world. And today we are doing just that kind of an excursion. We're going to be talking about the Men's College World Series that just ended last night.
Last night.
Yep. So we're going to be breaking that down and sharing our thoughts about the championship and then some other things, some other storylines that played out beforehand. So Eli, being the guest, where would you like to start?
Let's start at the beginning.
Okay. Yeah, what's the beginning for you? I need a little bit more
Like the
structure.
first round.
Okay.
Like that.
So
I only really watched the final, I'll say
yeah. Nothing really, no crazy upsets outside of Arkansas and Clemson were the two big upsets coming out of that. Yeah, those two were both nationally ranked and both got kicked in the first round. So not a great look for either of those programs.
At least they didn't Purdue it.
Purdue was brutal. I have a cousin at Purdue, and he wasn't very happy about that, to say the least.
Well, my mom went to UVA back in 2018, sure rings a bell.
So she was, yeah.
Made up for it a year later, though.
Yeah, and then they blew it again. So there are a couple of storylines that I wanted to hone in on. Since your biggest thing was the championship, I figure we can start with just focus on the storylines for that. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
So the first one that I wanted to talk about was the two blowouts in games 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I can't say I really expected that, to be honest with you,
I wasn't expecting that either.
because you look at like you looked at game 1. Game 1 was electric. It was an 11 inning barn burner that was won by a top of the 11th LSU homer. I don't remember what the guy's name was.
Cade Beloso, I think.
I think that's who the catcher.
Yeah.
I think that's who it was. That sounds right. But either way, that was the only thing in the top of the 11th that separated it, right?
That's all. And if LSU didn't make the catch in the bottom of the 10th, we might be talking about something completely different.
Yeah, with Dylan Cruz. Oh no, it wasn't Cruz. It was the guy in left who got that when Wyatt Langford absolutely smoked that one into left.
I thought the game was over as soon as the ball left the bat.
Yeah. And I was ready to go. I was pumped. It was game time, rough. But then we go into game 2 where Florida wins by 20.
I love how it's technically a comeback victory since LSU was up early after one inning.
That's even better. It feels weird because just all around just a complete dominant performance, right? So you're thinking, all right, Florida had their moment in the sun. Now we're gonna hone back in and we're gonna get a close game.
But no.
But no, we didn't, and it was really weird.
Yeah.
Because going into game 3, like tensions were very high. It's winner take all. Two of the best teams in the country, like the two best teams in the country, both SEC teams, like all of these different pieces coming together to create this perfect storyline. Just for LSU to kick them around for, all 9 innings. Yeah.
Yeah.
From the second inning on, I think they scored a run in almost every inning.
Yeah.
It was rough. I'll tell you what. Let's look at this one. I want to look at the box score of that final game. Yeah, so here it was 6 in the second, 4 in the fourth, 1 in the seventh, 3 in the eighth, and 4 in the ninth.
Whoa.
Not a good look. all all without the guy who I think was the biggest part of that team in Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
That entire series he did not pick up the baseball and go into the game,
Yeah.
which I at least partially understand because he had a dominant performance against Wake Forest. So they play the Thursday and then it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah.
So that Thursday game, I think he goes 8 innings. Let me look at that one. In that game, Paul Skeens goes 8 innings, with 9 strikeouts, no runs, only 2 hits and 1 walk.
Mm.
I mean, a dominant performance. He's the guy that I still think deserves the Golden Spikes. As much as Jack Caglione is my guy, and ride or die, I love that guy. Paul Skeens was so good in the College World Series, but he didn't touch the ball, and LSU still won,
Wow.
which is just crazy to think about just how good that team is.
Yeah.
By the way, LSU versus Wake Forest game 3, that was single-handedly the best game of baseball I have seen in years.
Wow.
I think it was better than you remember last October the game 3 of the ALDS between the Mariners and Astros?
Yeah.
Yeah, where it was like
Hot
18 or whatever it was. Jeremy
hot
Pena.
take. The other ALDS game 3, Yankees Guardians, was better.
That entire other ALDS series was much better on it in the entirety.
Yeah.
Guardians still should have won that series. Go Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland would have won had they not made some dumb decisions.
Where they proceeded to where they would have proceeded to get absolutely smoked by the Astros, who still would have ended up winning the World Series.
Yeah.
But the point being is LSU versus Wake Forest was better than that game because it was a good pitchers duel, but it didn't go on too long.
Unlike ALDS game 3.
Because the ALDS game 3 was 18 innings of pitchers duel, and you were sitting there bored out of your mind.
Heck, I had a friend over that night, and me and my friend started a movie around the 13th inning, and when the movie ended, the game still wasn't over.
Yeah. By the way, shout out the pitch clock for helping save us from that problem.
Yeah.
But I really think the easiest and simplest solution to like what is the best game that you have seen, what the answer for me has to be that LSU Wake Forest game. Because it was 11 innings, pitchers duel, capped off in with an absolutely electric walk-off home run.
I'll have to watch that game, watch some highlights from that game.
Oh my goodness. I'm still disappointed that you didn't see that.
I didn't know it was on.
That's brutal. Oh my goodness. And that really disappoints me.
Sorry.
Both teams actually had some very tense moments on the way to the championship. Florida's Michael Robertson getting a catch up against the wall to beat TCU in the semifinals. Shout out. There's one other game that I really want to focus on, and that's game 3 between Texas and Stanford.
Oh, Trevor. You know Trevor, right?
Yeah, poor
He,
guy.
I swear he was holding back tears when I saw him at school the next day.
I think, yeah, I would not be surprised. That was awful.
Uh,
For those of you who don't know what happened, Texas orchestrated a comeback in that game, and like they were on the precipice, and then so they got up to the top, and they got so top of the 8th or 9th they tie it up. Going into the bottom of the 9th, Stanford has a chance to win the ball game, right? As one does. And they get a guy on second with 1 out. Then there's a second out. I think it's a ground out or it's something like that. So the next guy comes up to bat, and you're thinking, all right, 2 outs. Let's see what this guy can knock one in the gap per se, right?
Yeah.
He skies the ball, absolutely skies it into the Palo Alto. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Like into the Palo Alto night. And everybody's like, all right, let's go up. Let's go get some popcorn. Let's settle back in for extras, right?
Yeah.
Texas defender is looking up. He has no clue where it is. Gets it. He gets absolutely lost in the lights. Ball drops. Stanford wins in an absolute heartbreaker for the Texas Longhorns.
I swear Texas athletics is cursed now.
Oh, it has to be, right?
Yeah.
There's no way that it's not.
I'm sure that I think, yeah, let's call it the Vince Young curse after Texas's most recent notable athletic championship.
Unfortunately, I would not be surprised.
Yeah. Trevor, if you're listening to this, we offer our condolences.
No, no condolences. They absolutely blew it. It was a heartbreaker, but there are no condolences necessary here. If your team blows it, you don't get any pity party going on here.
Yeah.
Um, what else do we feel like we're missing here?
How about Oral Roberts' run?
Oral Roberts had a good run.
Who saw that coming?
I think they surprised a lot of people with how far they made it.
Yeah.
No one was expecting them to do as well as they did. Um, Heck, they made it to the quarterfinals against Florida. They lost, but still, it was a good run.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say about that though is the is that Florida is not Florida before the last two finals games gave me heart attack after heart attack
Hmm.
because the TCU game was brutal going into the bottom of the ninth. Um, like I said, the Michael Robertson catch to send us to the championship, that was great. Um, Oral Roberts, it was close until the end. I think they got like the bases loaded or something like that. Virginia, we had to walk it off. That was not fun. Let's put it that way. That was not an enjoyable time to be alive at that moment.
Nothing to hang your hat on, though, at the end.
Yep. Um, I don't know. Are you a Seahawks fan?
No, I am a
Nowhere.
I am a New Orleans Saints fan, an
Okay.
even more cursed franchise.
For those of you who know Seattle Seahawks games, you all understand how no matter how much you are winning or losing by, the game is always close. In the end, the game is always close. Whether it deserves to be or not, the game is always close.
I always have said they give my dad heart attacks since he's a fan.
My heart, I'm a Broncos fan too. My heart does not deserve this.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have taken 15 years off of my life being a sports fan.
I'm sure I've taken 15 of I'm sure I've taken 25 off mine, considering I'm a Saints, Red Sox, and Capitals fan.
Yeah, yours is more just like broken heart syndrome, almost more than anything else.
Thank God I wasn't alive between 1919 and 2003 for the Red Sox, though.
Yeah, it's wild to me that like there are probably billions of people that lived entire lifespans in between, like in the time of the curse.
Same with the Cubs and the White Sox as well.
Hmm. Um, so the other one that I want to look at is the disappointment that is Wake Forest
Yeah,
because they were the number one seed going in, and heck, they had all the opportunities, even in their last game of even in the last game of their season. They had every opportunity in the world to assert themselves as we are the number one seeds in the country. We are like nationally, we are the number one ranked team. But they didn't.
they
For whatever reason, they just couldn't figure it out. Which
yeah
I'm still trying to figure out why. I mean, Skeens is good, but after Skeens went in, that LSU brought in another guy. So, like, you figured there would have been at least some opportunity for them to succeed at some point. Instead, all that we saw was kind of just disappointment.
Yeah, it was definitely a shell of what they were in the regular season.
I mean, in the regular season, let me see if I can find the exact record. Let me go hunt that down real fast. Let me find Wake Forest. Wake Forest went 52-10.
That is dominant.
Yeah. And heck, for 3 innings, they um for 3 innings, Wake Forest was going up against a pitcher who had a 5.97 ERA on the season. And they only got one hit and a walk.
Hmm.
If you are going to expect yourself to achieve greatness, you got to do a little bit more than that. I do suppose it's all about, what you can do with the opportunities presented to you. So shout out Tommy White for that one.
Yeah,
I still think that winning a home run, hitting a walk-off home run to win a World Series, whether MLB or college, I think is the greatest sports feeling that anyone could have.
it's
More than a
definitely
buzzer beater, more than a buzzer beater, more than a shootout winner, more than like a game-winning field goal.
yeah,
I think that that's the greatest way that you could win a game. You can win a game in sports.
especially when you're trailing at the time of
Oh
the home
yeah. The first one that comes to mind, shout out Justin, is the David Bodie.
grand slam against the Nats.
Santa Maria.
Uh,
Oh, oh, I love that one.
my
Um,
my first thought was Joe Carter in 1993,
good call on that one. Um,
and a College World Series one, Warren Morris for LSU in 1996.
hey, nice pull on that one. Um,
Another
so first
walk-off
off,
hero
I
that
think
did
one other thing that needs to be said is, first of all, because I didn't say this to begin with, but the thing that needs to be said is congrats to the LSU Tigers. For as
congrats.
frustrated as I am as a Gators fan,
Yeah,
you can accuse any of you can accuse me of bandwagon, whatever. I am not. I promise you.
you
Don't
can
have.
root for whoever you want.
Thank you. LSU deserved it. They were the better team across the series, and they won that. They won that series fairly. So
Yeah,
congrats to them. We will be back next year.
yeah,
Unfortunately, minus Wyatt Langford.
yeah. I've always kind of been a fan of LSU, as my dad would went on some business trips there, and he
Mm-hmm.
grew to like them.
It's funny how LSU fans come out of the woodworks when you guys win.
Yeah, 2019 college football, they were everywhere, but once 2020 came in, poof, gone.
Yeah. Um, LSU fans only show up. Um, LSU fans only show up when it's convenient for them. The teams are always great. Like whether it's football or basketball or baseball, probably even ice hockey or something. Who knows? They always put good teams out, but
But
their fans are obnoxious.
yeah,
They are the Dallas Cowboys fans of the sports world,
eh,
of the
maybe,
college sports world.
yeah. I'd personally say that's USC, but that's just me.
I think it's a pretty close. That's a good point. I think it's a pretty close competition between the two.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. This series felt weird. This entire the entire thing in Omaha has just felt weird
yeah.
because you instantly weeded out Wake Forest, Stanford, Virginia, and Wake Forest, Stanford, and Virginia were boom gone instantly, right?
Gone without a trace.
And then you were down to five between LSU, Wake Forest, Florida, TCU, and Oral Roberts.
Yeah,
And there was a genuine moment that I really liked that I wasn't expecting, where I really, really felt that any of them could win it.
It's always nice to have that feeling.
Parity. That's what the word is. Parity. Parity.
Yeah,
Parity. Not Weird Al Yankovic's parody. Parity, where you feel like anything is possible.
exactly.
And I really liked that feeling because you were like, all right, Wake Forest, dominant. LSU, dominant. Florida, dominant. Or Robertson TCU, watch out.
Yeah,
Like those two teams felt like they felt like a Cinderella story, walk in and shock the world type of, scenario there.
yeah.
Especially considering some of the other teams in their region that they beat. So like you go all the way back to the base regionals, right? If you go all the way back to that, Oral Roberts had to beat DBU, Oklahoma State, and Washington,
Mm.
while our good friends, TCU, where are they at?
65-7. Just had to get that off my chest.
That's really what those two games felt like. Those last two games,
Yeah.
that was really felt like that.
What is it with college sports 2023 and championship game blowouts?
Yeah, but like you
I
look
mean,
at it,
you. I mean, to be fair, UConn San Diego State was close at some points.
Georgia TCU to start the year, UConn versus
San
San
Diego
Diego
State.
State, LSU Florida minus game one,
Yeah.
um, LSU Iowa. That game was rigged.
How? How?
Were you not watching the refs during that game? Oh my goodness. LSU gave him a couple of Home Depot gift cards and said, go have fun.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. I'm biased. I like Caitlin Clark. My apologies. I will say though, I am partially bandwagon, but if I'm being honest, my grandpa is not. This guy read an article about her about 4 years ago and is now like and then became like the ultimate Caitlin Clark super fan. It's wild.
Same grandpa who was at the earthquake in '89.
Yep.
Hmm.
Massive sports guy.
Yeah.
The '89 earthquake is still would be scary as heck to me.
Oh yeah.
That was at Candlestick?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. My
Um,
yeah. There was an earthquake around here back in 2001 that my parents remember.
yeah. I would like to start a petition. For as classic as Omaha is, tell me that it would not be cooler for College World Series games to be played in like the finals. Everything else, like the rest of like the final eight can be played in Omaha, but the final series should be played at the home stadiums.
That that's a bold claim.
So like Florida was a higher ranked team,
Yeah.
right? So they would get like game one and game three would be in Gainesville, and game two would be down in Baton Rouge.
Hmm.
I just feel like the environment would be even better.
Since there are vastly more LSU fans than Florida fans in Omaha.
Oh, it was terrible. There's a reason game two was so empty by the end.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like about half that stadium was there in LSU gear just to see Livy Dunn. So do with that as you will.
Hmm.
But outside of that, ignoring that fact, I don't know. I just feel like college sports and especially college football are made 1,000 times better. Like the moments are made better because of the home crowds.
Exactly.
For example, you have any of the Ohio State Michigan games, pretty much any of them, right?
Take your pick.
Yeah. A bunch of different Rose Bowls, the Purdue upset of Ohio State a couple years ago. Um, all these games where you walk in thinking nothing's going to happen but then you walk out of it with the most electric feeling because the impossible happened.
The one the one that always comes to mind for me on that is the kick six game.
Yes, that moment in and of itself, say it had been played at a neutral site, would have been cool.
But
But
it
being in Auburn with the ivy around, or the hedges around the walls, and all the fans screaming at the top of their lungs, with the camera shaking, and with the you can hear like the emotion in the announcer, like in the Auburn announcer's voice.
yeah,
Those moments are what makes college sports different
from pro.
from the professionals, because professionals still have their own electric moments where you cannot fully do justice to just how amazing it is to what
Watch a
for example the 2013 ALCS Big Poppy Grand Slam, bottom of the
Oh
eighth,
yeah.
to tie it up against the Tigers.
I
Like,
saw the security guard who was going crazy in the dugout when I went to tour Fenway a year later, but he didn't see us.
mm, like that moment was great,
Yeah,
but it would have been made like, just for some reason college crowds are just better. Maybe it's
yeah.
because they're more willing to get drunk. Who knows? I can't
It's
speak
e-
to it exactly.
it's even more legendary when it even when a road team does something great because it just goes silent all in just seconds.
Dead. It's like the Michigan State, the blocked punt. Ooh.
Yeah,
Um yeah, I think for me the biggest thing to look at with that one
yeah,
is that you can keep it at a neutral site for the like the to like for what we're going to call the Elite Eight and the Final Four. Like you
yeah,
can keep it in Omaha because Omaha is a classic location and so much history has been made there.
yeah.
But when you have a place, for example, like Baton Rouge, that is just the go-to place for college sport. Like I think LSU is the greatest school in terms of environment for the parties and the tailgates and the sports and the enthusiasm and all that.
What? Yeah, that football stadium is apparently the loudest anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, despite others being bigger,
Yeah,
Death Valley, the correct Death Valley. Clemson also calls theirs Death Valley, which it isn't. Just want to point that one out.
yeah.
The In Death Valley, it is an unparalleled atmosphere that I would love to go and be a part of one day.
Mm.
I would love to go to a football game there once.
Quick story. My dad was in Baton Rouge one year on a business trip, and he almost went to a New Orleans Saints game at that stadium. That was due to the Saints being kicked out of New Orleans due to Katrina, but foolishly didn't decide to go. Worst decision of
That
my
was a stupid choice.
life.
I'd also just love to go down to Baton Rouge and New Orleans. Like those would be two great places to go to.
Yeah,
Do you want to know something funny? One more thing about Baton Rouge before we move on to some other things.
yeah.
Baton Rouge means red stick.
Don't know why that made me laugh.
In French, Baton Rouge, it's a Baton Rouge, which would mean red stick. Why? Don't ask me. I don't know. It's stupid. But point being, it's I don't know. It's weird. Um,
Hmm.
I just I don't know. I still stand by that though. That it would be so much better for all of that. Um, I'm trying to see what else are we missing here. I'm trying to look at see other if there are any other teams that I feel like need to be shouted out for kind of crumbling in the moment. Miami still can't figure themselves out, but is
Typical
that
Miami
really
athletics.
anything new?
No.
I think that's kind of just the perpetual story of Miami that they can never succeed,
Yeah.
which isn't really that big of a deal because it's Miami and no one cares.
Stop picking to be in the top 25 every year NCAA football pollsters.
Oh, it's stupid. They're like, oh, this is Miami's year. It hasn't been their year since 2001.
Yeah.
Um, so one interesting tidbit, because I got some memorabilia of it up on my wall. Um, the so Florida broke the record on Sunday for the most runs in a men's college World Series game.
Yeah.
One of the co-owners of that was Notre Dame, 23 runs previously
Hmm.
when they beat the University of Northern Colorado,
Hmm.
1958. Ooh,
Wow.
shout out ESPN. Shout out the ESPN stats crew. Shout out that one. That one was 1958. My grandparents were 12.
My my well, yeah, my grandparents were slightly older.
Yeah. Like, it's just impressive to me that baseball has survived this long. Because you look at the tenure of other sports, and they have not been around not like nearly as long.
Yeah.
But since 69 with the Cincinnati Red Stockings,
That's the official start. Some say it was
um,
invented. It's debatable when baseball was first invented.
invented, and then when it first became anything close to the organized baseball that we have today.
You can say the same for like hockey as well.
Hmm.
That's also murky, origin wise.
Because hockey is one that kind of was a thing first, just in just Canadian kids having fun.
Yeah.
Um, okay, there is one book that I'd like to recommend to you and to our audience. It's called If I Never Get Back.
Hmm.
Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Basically, a dude travels back in time, and gets roped in with the 1869 Cincinnati Red Stockings,
Hmm.
but in their version of baseball, which is so completely different.
Wow.
So he slowly introduces some of the modern rules of baseball to them.
Hmm.
It's a really fascinating story. So I would highly recommend that book, for any of you that are, big readers. I know that our audience is a lot of teenage males. So I recognize the fact that not too many members of our audience are going to be too
Yeah.
keen on the whole reading idea, especially during the summer.
Yeah.
But still, if you're interested, check it out. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Um, so with this, LSU is now firmly and solely in second place for the most College World Series of all time,
Good for them.
with 7. Um, I think I think I saw Texas is the record holder. I think that's what I saw. I could be wrong, so let me go fact check that one real fast.
Let's see.
USC. It's USC, then LSU, and then Texas.
Hmm.
USC, though, hasn't won one since 1998.
That's a drive.
Interest, Interestingly, they won 5 straight to start the 70s. From 1970 through 74, they won 5 straight.
Hmm. Talk about falling on hard times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But then 1998 was their last one. I don't know. College sports dynasties are so hard to build. And
Yeah.
I think baseball, for me at least, is even harder.
Yeah.
Um, my justification for that being, um, like, you have so much less funding.
Yeah.
Like, football and basketball get all the money,
Yeah.
and then baseball, and then everything else is just in the sewer of get whatever you can.
Heck, men's basketball has only had 2 repeat champions since the 70s.
Really.
Yeah. Duke in 91 and 92, and Florida in 06 and 07.
By the way,
Basketball fan.
I'm not a Florida basketball fan, so don't worry about that one. Um, I don't know. I kind of signed on. Trevor kind of brought me onto the Texas bandwagon for basketball, so we're kind of,
Yeah.
I'm kind of partially lumped into that, but I don't really have a team. So if any of you are big college basketball fans and want
I,
to truly rope me into any team, feel free to message me.
if you sign on with if you sign on with Arizona or Virginia, you're going to get heartbreak. That's all.
If you sign on with Gonzaga, you're going to constantly be disappointed.
So you should sign on with Vermont. Hey, we're a mid major who doesn't really do much, but hey, at least we make the tournament every few years.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind of fun to be a fan of one of the teams that just absolutely owns like the Sun Belt Conference or some random minor one like that, where
Yeah,
they're getting like a seed they're getting in every year, but they're not planning on doing anything except maybe they make one like Elite Eight run. That'd be
yeah.
cool.
Heck,
Um,
UVM only has one tournament win.
who does?
Vermont.
Hmm.
That's where my sister currently goes to college.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
University of Vermont. Yikes. Kind of like going to the University of Alaska.
Yeah.
Cold, forsaken land.
Vermont's really beautiful in the summer.
Yeah. I've heard Alaska just described as big. Like that's the easiest word to describe
It's
Alaska.
big. It's basically Colorado, but really big.
Yeah, and colder.
Yeah.
Um, interestingly, the the team with the next after Southern California, LSU, and Texas is Arizona State.
Boo.
Unfortunately, Arizona State hasn't won since 1981. So, doesn't
Good.
really matter.
Hmm.
Yep.
Well, hey, the A's have won the third most World Series, yet they've won nothing since '89.
Again, not exactly surprising. Um, by the way, Paul Skeens was given the most outstanding player of the tournament
Despite not playing a single game in the
in the
series.
finals. Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, I don't agree with that. I think he should be like the overall player of the year, but not of the tournament. I think Dylan Cruz was just too instrumental.
Oh, it's
Maybe
got.
maybe even Tommy White.
Hmm.
That team was really good.
Yeah. LSU.
Um, I mean, you have to be the champion, but still. Trey Morgan, Tommy White, Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens.
Just a complete team effort.
Yeah. And that one other guy, Ty Floyd. This man threw 17 strikeouts in 8 innings.
Yeah.
How? How are we going to let that slide?
I don't know.
Oh, man. The other hard part was that the three biggest guys for us go in the year um, of Curland, Langford, and Caglione were all major disappointments. Like if you look at them throughout the entire men's college world series from the regionals onward, they weren't that good. They had a combined like 220. When on the year, all of them were hitting at least, I think, 280 or 290. And Jack Caglione was the home run king. And we still could not get any offense. Oh man, sorry. Sorry, my apologies.
It's okay. I've gone through losses before.
Yeah. Um, that being said, I made a promise in an earlier conversation with um Eli that I would discuss the Rockies.
Oh, this is going to get ugly.
I would like to preface this with I have hope for the Rockies' future.
I
There
mean,
are
you gotta.
there are a lot of good prospects, and I have hope that we can eventually turn things around. Okay, I would
Hmm.
like to start with that first and foremost. Now that I'm done with the positives, what an absolute joke of an organization. Oh my goodness. I don't care if you won the series. You lost by 24 runs. It is completely inconceivable to me that you would give up 13 runs in one inning. I don't understand. I don't understand how we do it. Year after year, I walk in with no expectations. I know we're going to stink. And yet somehow you still manage to surpass said expectations every single year. It is insane to me that I can be constantly disappointed by a team that I expect to be awful every single year. And yet I somehow fall into the trap of thinking, maybe now and again we can win, we can win a couple of ball games and I can have a good time. Heck, we won the series and I still feel like a loser. We lost the series by 20 runs. First time since 1897 that a team has lost that a team has won the series despite being down at least 20 in the run differential. That's the Los Angeles Angels stat line for you. Shout out Trout and Ohtani not being able to do anything with their lives. Oh my goodness. It is terrible for me that I have to sit here and watch this absolute joke of a franchise constantly, year after year. I put myself through this. I willingly choose this. I don the jersey. I put up the banner. I put up the towel. I put up the flag. I do this. I cheer on the team. I got the fun themed baseballs going. I got the whole thing. I got the entire setup. Purple is one of my favorite colors. It's just built into me. I am hardwired to be a Rockies fan, and I am still constantly disappointed year after year. And until the Monforts sell the team, there will be no change and there will be no happiness in my life because year after year we trade away the good players and we keep the bad ones. Ugh.
Well said. Now you know how I feel when the Red Sox lost by 23 runs to Toronto last year.
Yeah, that was rough. Ugh. That was awful. I never want to have to deal with that ever again.
I never hope you do.
I hope that I don't even care about like winning a World Series in the next 10 years. I want to make the playoffs in the next 10 years. As long as we can do that, I'll be happy.
Yeah, let's see.
Because it shouldn't, in theory, it shouldn't be that hard. And yet somehow, year after year, I am shown that it is in fact much harder than one thinks.
That division is only getting better.
Mm-hmm.
If only you played in the NL Central, maybe you'd have a chance.
Or the AL Central, even. That'd be even better. Man, if we were in the AL Central, the Rockies are currently 31 and 49. If we were in the AL Central, we wouldn't be in last place. And we would actually be, competing for the division. That's kind of sad. We'd only be 9 games back.
Well, hey, the
That's
Red
pretty.
Sox are in last in the AL East, yet they're only 3 back of a wild card somehow.
Yeah. And they're 13 back of the no, they're 13 games back of the division. Man, the Rays really jumped out to a hot start and then just kind of like I feel like that that was them just kind of getting themselves a leg up for the entire rest of the year.
Yeah.
Um
The Orioles have been a pleasant surprise, I think we can all say.
Miami has been the biggest one for me.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely the Marlins. I'd say the Diamondbacks have been a surprise as well.
Heck, the Marlins are the first wild card team.
How often can you say that?
I haven't said that since shoot, when was the last time I said that?
You weren't
2020? They were in the wild card?
I know you weren't alive in 1997 or 2003.
Nope. I was thinking it then though. That's what I was thinking. All right. Sorry. I just needed to get sorry, I needed to get all that frustration out. I appreciate Eli, I appreciate you standing by.
I
Um
would have gone on a rant about that Red Sox Blue Jays 28-5 fiasco if I were on this podcast last year.
so all I'll say is that that will be a clip at some point in the near future because I think that was the single-handedly the greatest rant that has been had on this podcast ever. So
Yeah.
But besides that, I would say it was a pretty successful episode.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else that you want to add? Any other storylines or any other teams or players or anything else that you want to talk about with this College World Series before we call it a day?
Can't say I do. You want to do a little chat after, like usual.
Sure, works for me. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, I would like to thank each and every one of you for watching, being diligent. We certainly appreciate it.
You're the
And
best.
despite how impassioned I get, we greatly appreciate just how much you guys' dedication. It's great. So thank you all so much for watching as always. We will see you all next week. Peace.